First round of college football playoff is in the books. Went about as I expected. We're going to see a lot of these kind of blowouts most years. It's not so much because of the group of five. There's just a huge difference in talent and quality of team level in college football when you start getting to the upper echelons of teams, that top six, and then the back six that are going to end up making it. Regardless of who made it, Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, Texas, I wouldn't have expected them to win these games regardless. But we'll start it with the Alabama-Oklahoma game. So I picked Alabama to win. I got that one right, but I really thought it'd be a lot more defensive than it was. The final score is a bit of a lie. Alabama didn't even have 300 total yards. Oklahoma really just shot themselves in the foot. The punt that he just drops, I mean, what are you doing? This top level game, that was all the momentum that Alabama needed. They were able to come back from a 17 to nothing deficit. And Ty Simpson, he looked rough again. They were able to get a tiny bit of running compared to what Alabama normally does. That was actually a little bit better than usual. Oklahoma really dominated most of that first half, and then they just let the momentum completely slip, and then it was all Alabama from there. But I'll tell you what, no matter who won these games, there's an argument for either one of them to even be in the playoffs. No matter who won this game, they're not going to beat Indiana. Alabama didn't even have 300 yards against Ole Miss or Oklahoma. They are definitely not going to have 300 yards against Indiana. I'd expect that one to be a bit of a rout. Nothing like Ole Miss Tulane, which we'll get into next. So this one was exactly what I expected. Ole Miss beat them 45-10 already in their first matchup. They were just outclassed talent level. I mean, you could see it the entire game. Breaking tackles like crazy, busted coverages. Quarterback just Tulane, these little mistakes they just couldn't break out of because they had that outclass. They really had to play a perfect game to be able to stay in this one. Ole Miss looked like they were rolling. No Lane Kiffin, no real problem. They have Georgia again though next round. That's going to be a really tough one. They already lost to them in the middle of the season. I'd still expect Georgia to win, but I do think it'll be a good game. I was real curious how Ole Miss would come out with no Kiffin. So I think we are going to get a good game in the next one, but I still just really can't see them being able to beat Georgia. Georgia is really put together. They really got their late game season stretch in to look more like the Georgia Bulldogs of old, so can't really see them going farther than Georgia, but great game. Shout out to Tulane, though, making the playoff, regardless of if you think Group of Five should have made it. I didn't think that they necessarily should, but this Ole Miss team was just rolling. Maybe Notre Dame could have put up a fight, but like Vanderbilt and Texas, who got left out, I still don't think they would have beat them. I mean, college football is just so top heavy. So 41-10, obviously you don't want to see that in the playoffs for sure, but we had TCU just a few years ago make the national championship and lose 70-7 or 63-7, whatever the final score was. So this is about on par for what the college football playoff is. This is nothing real special. But 500 yards of offense for Ole Miss. Their offense was still clicking. We'll see how they do against more evenly matched talent. They were just clearly outplayed Tulane on a talent basis, so Tulane just couldn't keep up. And then the Texas A&M Miami game. I was wrong on this one. I picked Texas A&M. I also thought it was going to be a really high-scoring affair, but it was not. Both teams looked flat. I thought A&M in the early game, they looked a lot more put together. Man, Carson Beck only have 103 passing yards. That does not look good for their future chances against Ohio State. So no matter who won this game, they're going to get smacked by Ohio State regardless. Kind of just how the playoffs is. But Miami really could have won by more than what the final score said. They had 3 missed field goals. Their kicker was just choking, iced up. Texas A&M actually had a chance to be able to go down at the end of the game, to bring it to overtime, or even go for 2 and win the game, all the way down to the 5-yard line. Marcel Reed's rushing ability got them all the way down the field, and then they're going to choke it by throwing an interception. No run plays. Even though there was 40 seconds on the clock, it would have made sense to run the ball, get a little bit less time so Miami can't get a lucky Hail Mary or something to get in field goal range. So just bad coaching, really, I think, from that perspective. At least run the ball on first down, get the time down on a little bit, and they could have gotten a little bit closer. And then Marcel Reed not want to take off, even though he had a hole open on the middle on that last play on that interception. Miami did not have the box stacked at all. They expected A&M to pass it, and then A&M did exactly what Miami expected. So really disappointing from a coaching standpoint right there. A&M really had a chance to be able to take it to overtime or even win the game, but kind of laid it flat. But Miami, no matter what, they're going to get smacked by Ohio State in the next round. They did not look good against A&M, and Ohio State is a much better team, much more complimentary team, best defense since Georgia in 2017. So it's not going to look good for Miami. even though there's a bit of a controversy, they obviously proved they deserve to be in the playoff. I think Notre Dame probably would have had a similar result. Notre Dame probably would have beat A&M as well. I've been thinking that they were frauds all year without really getting tested. They beat Notre Dame early in the season when they were on that little funk. But yeah, 10-3 Miami. Don't think they'll do much in the next round. And then the last game was the Oregon JMU game. The final score is not as how close the game was. I ended up stop watching. I watched the Bears Packers game. It was 34-3 at one point. And then to finish 51-34, it looks a lot better for the people who went to bed or stopped watching. They're like, oh, okay, JMU had a little fight, but they really didn't. Oregon was up so big, the players just kind of lost that fire and motivation. But not a good look for Oregon in the next round versus Texas Tech to have 500 yards from JMU. JMU's offense, it's a group of five. Now, they do have a top 10 offense FBS-wise, but they played some really bad competition. Oregon originally was holding them real bottled up, but still 500 yards to get by the end of the game. That does not look good for Oregon going against Texas Tech, who is one of the top-ranked offenses as well. So that makes me feel more affirmed in my Texas Tech pick. All of them except for Miami. No matter what, my round two picks were going to stay the same. The only game that I was curious about was how Oregon JMU would play out to possibly have Oregon beating Texas Tech. But man, to let 500 yards from JMU, Texas Tech has a really explosive offense. Oregon's really going to be in the dogfight for that one. I would expect Texas Tech to open up as the favorite. We'll see how the betting lines go for that one. But good first round. That's all the games right there. Good first round. Group of five teams. No matter what, I think that at least JMU proved they at least had some fight in them. They had something to go. No matter what, whoever was going to get faced against Oregon, Notre Dame, be not, they were going to lose. The Texas A&M game, Miami, that one maybe, but Miami, no matter what, was going to get in over Notre Dame. They had that head-to-head win. And then whoever was going to face Ole Miss in that Tulane game, they weren't going to be able to keep up with that offense. So no matter what, we still would have had the same results. We might have had a little bit more competitive of games, but you don't really have much of a platform to stand on when you're outside looking in on those playoffs, because none of these teams really have a chance to win the playoffs. This isn't like the March Madness of college basketball, but you can see some years you'll have that crazy upset for the first round, but you're not going to see a Cinderella team make it all the way to the semifinals or even the finals in college football. It's just not really how football works. It's much more of a team game, much more strategy. So the buttoned-up team, 9 times out of 10, is going to win the game. You might have that one fluke, but you're not going to be able to go on those kind of runs. So no matter what, if you didn't make the playoffs, if you're upset the group of five got in over you, you shouldn't have been at the edge of the thing then. You didn't really have a chance to win the national championship anyway, so doesn't make much sense to cause all this fight. Notre Dame whining and everything. It's like, yeah, maybe you could win round one, but you have no real shot at the national championship. So we'll definitely still see some kind of change for how the playoffs work next year, whether it's an expansion to 16 teams, get rid of conference championship, the whole 4-4-2-1 model. We could see that as well. So we'll see how it goes next year. Notre Dame, little crybabies, they're going to get their way, and they're going to get this thing changed. But if you were outside looking in, you really don't have much of a platform to stand on. You just should have won your games. You should have been better. You didn't have much of a chance to win the national championship anyway, so not much you can really even cry over. But overall, pretty underwhelming first round. Kind of what you expect. Oklahoma, Alabama was a great game, and then even though it was really ugly, A&M, Miami was a great game. A&M had a chance to win at the end. Group of five teams went about as you expected, but kind of this is what we're going to see every first round of the college football playoff. This is not because of group of five or seeding or who was left out. It's just those upper echelon teams are so far ahead of those 10, 11, 12 ranked teams that you don't really have much of a fight. There's no real reason to even be calling all these crybabies and whatnot. So that's how it goes. That's how the first round went. Went 3 for 1 on my picks for this one. Kind of easy picks. Next week we'll see the same. I have my full bracket video out. I'm not going to change my picks for round 2. The only difference is I have Miami instead of A&M. Regardless, I think they're going to get smacked. So go watch that one if you want to. I have all those brackets picked. I also had my reasoning for the first ones if you wanted to see that one. But yeah, if you didn't make it this year, you got nothing to cry about except for yourself. Group of five, at least one of them deserved to make it in there. JMU at least made the ending score look pretty good. So hey, you can't be too upset with Group of Five making it in. This is about what the games would have went even if the other teams didn't make it. So that was the first round of the playoffs. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Comment if I'm stupid. Comment if I'm wrong. Comment if you like it. Leave a like if you like the video. Check out my channel. I have more college football, NFL, other types of content on there. And then subscribe.